Hey, what's going on, everybody here on Twitch? It's time for the Beige Carpet Afterparty FFBE review, not the live stream review because we don't have a live stream to review. But we'll go ahead and do the review of the game because that's what we're here for. And in order to review a game that's been near and dear to our hearts for 8 years, we've got a large panel of guests, as you can see above the chat there. Your guests include some new folks as well as some returning folks. We've got brand new to the Beige Carpet. We've got SXM123. We've got Beardeh here for the first time, and we've got Sithlord here for the first time. And then we've also got some returning guests. Galaxybro AO, Sinzar, and Rooks426 is here. And don't forget, you guys, we've got chat here as well. So chat is a part of the live stream. And we want you to ask questions and comment on the things that we're talking about and get involved. So for those of you who are new, so this is SXM, Sithlord, and Beardeh, if you could just say a little bit about how you're involved in FFBE and the community, and then we'll let everybody else say hello too, and then we'll keep moving. SXM, why don't you go first?
And no worries, everybody stumbles over my name, so don't worry about it.
And I'm so nervous. I shouldn't be nervous doing this, but I'm so nervous. Go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. I am the fan of Notorious Fangirl. I basically just carry discussions about the storyline and the in-game characters and all that kind of lore business. And I occasionally do art and fan fictions and silly nonsense like that.
Very good, very good. And Sithlord?
Yeah, so I'm the FFBE player that has Frebbia tattooed on the back of his leg. A day one player. I'm like a silent moderator in a couple of the FFBE Facebook groups too.
Very cool, very cool. And Beardeh?
Hello there. Well, I'm kind of newish to the communities. I played the game from early on, but then I've had quite a long break in between a couple of them, just due to life things. But recently I've been quite active in the community. I watch a lot of Gert streams. I've watched a lot of other content, and I kind of just I don't know how I would describe myself. I'm kind of casual but kind of serious at the same time, if you know what I mean.
I do, and I'm glad that you're here, and thank you for taking time out of your middle of the night to get to hang out with us. I really appreciate that. MK says, of course, Beardeh has that epic accent. 100%. And just not to not give them a chance to say hello. Rooks, Sinzar, Galaxybro, say hello, everybody.
What's up, guys?
Yep, Rooks here. You know me.
And your friendly neighborhood Galaxybro makes a return. Glad to be here.
I'm glad to have all of you. All of you are here, for various reasons. I reached out to you, or you reached out to me, and I'm excited to have all of you here for the various reasons that you are here. I'll just say really quickly, SXM, I've always appreciated your commentary on the lore and the feedback and the things that you have to say when you've participated in Sinzar's news videos. I always wanted to have a chance to talk, and now here we are, so I'm super excited to have you. Galaxybro, you've been the longest self-sustaining subscriber on Twitch, so, this seat belongs to you for that. Sithlord, I would not have been able to go to LA without your help. And so I wanted you here for that. Beardeh, you have been a wonderful addition to the streams lately, and I really have really enjoyed everything that you've had to say in Discord and on stream. Sinzar, how could we even be here without Sinzar in one way or another? And Rooks, we never got that coffee chat thing going, but I wanted to do the coffee chat thing, and this is my way of saying thanks for the idea is to have you here. And so all of you, I really appreciate you taking your time and being here, and chat, all of you guys too, because we couldn't do this without any of you guys as well. So thank you very much to everybody. Let's get the show started. I wanted to talk a little bit about history and just get a, we don't have to address every single one of these questions, but I do have a little, just a sense from you guys, what drew you to FFBE? Why did you start? When did you start? And what kind of kept you here? Like, general sense of like what this game has been for you guys. And, jump in if you got an idea.
Okay, I'll start. Mine, it's not controversial or anything, but what drew me to FFB, I was actually fresh in my, I don't mean to say this right off the bat, but my substance abuse issues. And just sitting on my phone one day, and I just saw the app, and I gave it a shot. I've always been attracted to FFB, and, or not FFB, I've always loved Final Fantasy, right? And so got started on that. When did I start? I started right in the middle of the first Nier Automata event. So I think that was August 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And what kept me in FFB was just the love of Final Fantasy. And a lot of what kept me in it was I went through my addiction struggles, went through a 9-month rehab. And quick side note, my mom logged in for me every single day I was in rehab, if you could believe that. And when I got out, it was just, it was just like it was a fresh of breath air. It was something that I was like, when I get out, I can't wait to play again. And so that's what kept me drawn in.
Good deal. Good deal.
So,
imagine your mum logging in for you every day. That's like super mint.
Dude, she's an all-star.
Really,
I think for me, it's the same sort of thing. I was a Final Fantasy fan before, and the fact that there was a game that you could play on your phone, I mean, that's like super, because the reason I play the Final Fantasy series is my father, he plays it as well. My father's super cool. He's 73, he's got a PlayStation 5, he's got a 2,000 quid water-cooled PC, he's like the ultimate gamer, and he's like nearly 80.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Sithlord, I saw you lighten up. You wanted to say something?
yeah, I mean, like, I've been playing Final Fantasy since Final Fantasy 2, which is 4, came out on Super Nintendo, and I've been hooked ever since. And then, like, I have addiction issues. I have, like, 15 years clean now. But at the same time, like, FFB came out. I started with Record Keeper because it was, like, nice that there was new things to do every week. And then FFBE came out, and I played it since day one. But I got bored because in the beginning, all it seemed like what you do is, like, go through the story and do some quests. And I got up to, like, the Guardian, and I couldn't, like, do anything because I didn't understand, like, having friend units. Like, I literally used Beardeh in my starting party because I just thought he was, like, cool looking, and he was terrible, and I didn't realize you could change characters, like, all that sort of fun stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, taking a break in the game for a little bit, but then, like, Lightning came out, and I got her on a ticket, and then I was able to, like, do stuff. And I've been playing ever since. Like, I run 2 accounts. I have 2 phones that I literally run both accounts on. And I mean, I got to the point where I was just like, instead of even like needing a friend in the community, I would just use my alternate account at the end. It's just been one wild, crazy ride playing this game for the last 8 years. I can say that much.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I guess I would kind of be the outlier to this. So I was actually transitioning out of my old fandom and was looking for something new. So a mutual in that fandom told me to play Brave Exvius as sort of like my introduction to the world of Final Fantasy, because I had never played any of the Final Fantasy games before.
Okay.
So he wanted me to play to see if I resonated with any of the characters in the game, so that I would then check out the games that they were in. And that was back in December 2016.
Very cool. Well, there's some questions coming up about units that I think are going to be fun to hear your feedback on. Then that's good.
I'm not actually sure when I started, but I don't know. Maybe people could help. But I do remember playing with original Barts in the Barrage era. So, what sort of timescale would that have been?
Original Barts, like the 3-star Barts, he was in the game when it first launched. So.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that could have been any time.
Yeah, so I think at that time, everyone was after Bartz and Chizuru. They were the meta units, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. That could have been summertime. Yeah.
Bartz was one of the best in the original game.
Yeah, I loved him. I loved Bartz, yeah.
What about you, Galaxybro?
All right, so what drew me to FFBE? I'm just going to go down the list of the questions on screen. What drew me to FFBE? Well, it was a simple advertisement on YouTube. An ad that I couldn't skip, which is fine. It was kind of cool to watch. And so like, that's a mobile game. I'm going to search it up. Oh, look, it's free. So that's what drew me in. When did I start? In September of 2016 is when I started playing FFBE. And going back to, I can't remember who, but someone said Chizuru was a meta unit way back then. Well, fun fact, the 4-star base Chizuru was the first ever rainbow crystal that I ever pulled in this game. So I find that to be pretty cool. And lastly, what kept you in FFBE? What kept me is that they came out with more characters, like original FFBE and also the main series characters, because I've always been a huge fan of Final Fantasy, just a huge fan of role-playing games in general, and so that's what kept me. Nostalgia.
Yeah. Well, I was day one, and what I like Sithlord. I was also playing Record Keeper at the time, and me and some friends were kind of all playing games like mobily, virtually from far away. Like I lived in Florida and they lived in Georgia, and like we were just kind of like playing stuff together separately, you know. And this was just like the next thing that we started after, you know, they were playing Brave Frontier, and then we played Record Keeper, and then we switched over to Brave Exvius. So and I think what kept me here is the units, which is the next thing we're going to talk about, but don't want to jump over him. Sinzar, what kept you here?
For me, it was the gameplay. You know, for mobile games, it's really fun for me to have something to do, like, you know, between appointments, between, you know, waiting rooms, all that, something to grab and play for a few minutes. And I tried a bunch of mobile games over time, and all of them, the gameplay is very, very shallow. The ones I've tried, at least. Whereas Brave Exvius, it was very deep. You know, the combat system is really, really good in Brave Exvius. And yeah, that kept me. So games have to be challenging to keep my interest. And Brave Exvius, you know, for specific content was, obviously most of the content is pretty simple, but it did have those boss fights that were really hard, which is what kept my interest.
Good deal. Good deal. So I think it goes without saying that, you know, other than just like regular content, what keeps people in this game is like characters. I think characters, you know, from Final Fantasy games, from just FFBE, I think that's what gets people most excited about a game like this. So SXM, what were some of those characters that hopefully you resonated with?
How cringe do you want me to get?
Extremely cringe. Like I want to like be crawling on the floor cringy, you know?
Oh, we already know this one anyway.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so I fell for Mercedes. At least the sort of character she is. She like was like my first multi-poll. I'm like, oh, that's a really cool character. I hope I get her. And I did. So I was really happy about that. And she was my party leader all through season 1. And I spent a lot of time in my head, like creating a deeper storyline around her based on like the little bits of canon we would get. So, you know, it may sound weird, but it was like a fun new source of inspiration, and I just kind of rolled with it.
So speaking
besides
of,
that, I also like Luca.
Bag of Pups asks, do you cosplay of Mercedes?
I do. I never would have done it if, shout out to Flip, I think he's in the chat right now.
He is here, yeah.
Flip had a contest to see who could do good FFBE cosplay. And if you placed, at least it would cover like the cost of like the expense of making it. So I'm like, what the heck? So I ended up, you know, cosplaying Mercedes for that, which was interesting.
Did you actually win his contest? I'm just curious because yours was like amazing. Who won?
I came in second out of 2. So
second out of 2. Hey,
take what you will from that.
Just for curiosity, what character was the number one?
They definitely should have won because it was like a dual cosplay. It was I forget the name of the person, but she cosplayed Chizuru, and then her son was Hayate. So
Okay.
that was very adorable. So I'm okay losing to them, but we only had those 3 entrants. So yeah.
Still very cool, very cool. So for the rest of you guys, are there any like specific FFBE characters that you guys resonated with or that you really enjoyed, like not like mainline characters, but like FFBE specifically?
We talked about mine a little earlier. Sylvia, all day.
What is it that
The
you like
unit
about
design.
Sylvia?
Unit design for sure. You give me a bay with a sword, bro, and we're good to go. That's probably why I'm such a huge Lightning fan too. But yeah, plus I really liked her kit. I think it was early game. The blue hair, the rapier, and she had the 4 different elements that she would attack with, which I think was AoE damage.
Mm-hmm.
But then you would also get resistances to said element that she used, and so I thought that was really, really cool. I think she would have made a great Neovision unit. I always call her kind of the anti Forgotten Elena. So, but yeah, Sylvia all day.
Sylvia all day. Yeah.
I liked remember Medias. He was quite a cool support for his time.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, OG Esther, she was the one.
Yes. Hard not to like Esther.
Yeah, I'm not just saying that because Sarp's appeared in the stream, but the OG Bunny, she was, and there was so much hype around her, and obviously because of the nerf as well, there was a lot of discussion around her at that time. But again, she was super easy to use. I think you only had to really do like maybe three things with her, and then just LB. That was it.
Yeah.
For me, it was Hayo. Just the character. He was one of the characters that was just really cool in my opinion, and that was not over the top as an evil character. For the time he was like evil, so to speak. A whole bunch of the characters in Brave Exvius are done well and all, but oftentimes the evil characters are like really over the top, like Vlad and all that, and the whole Will of Oblivion thing in season 3. Like it's a little bit too much for me. Whereas Hayo was very cool and direct without just being comical. So I really liked Hayo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and mysterious, although everyone knew who he was.
I didn't at first. You found out pretty quickly, but like when he first popped on, like I didn't realize that was Rain at all.
Is it okay to do spoilers in an 8-year-old game that's about to close? Is that all right? Can we do that?
I think that's fair.
Chat, is that okay?
Does such a thing exist?
Good stuff. And Sithlord, you mentioned Beguile. What drew you to Beguile?
Yeah, that was a beautiful accident where, like, I didn't understand you could change your party from Rain and Lastwell, and the game gave me Beguile, and I was like, okay, he looks cool, he's got a giant cutlass, like, this could be good. And he's terrible, and he's still terrible, and it doesn't matter that I've beefed him up as, like, my companion unit with a Ring of Dominion, which, if it would have had flat stats, would have been great. Like, he's awful. So it just, like, gives me this, like, humor to like try and wish, because for the character choice unit, even though I'm sure the game developers had picked Hayo before our vote even mattered, I was like, the Dial can win, let's do that. And it was just like not gonna happen, which would have been great, but
Yeah.
Hey, it's 2024 and I still do that, so you're good.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, Hayo's sprite is super cool as well, isn't it?
It is. I mean,
Extremely cool.
I don't understand, why he needed a panther, but I'm not offended by it,
I actually think that was like a callback to Shinra from Final Fantasy VII, because he just randomly had that panther in the first battle. That's what I've always thought, because Hayo kind of reminded me of Shinra.
Okay.
And then Shinra had Dark Nation just randomly there, and then I figured they did that Hayo was like a reference to Final Fantasy VII. Whether he was or wasn't, I have no idea, but that's what I always thought.
It could be. They also did like Dwayne a couple months before that too, and he randomly had an animal companion. I just felt like that was the flavor of the new units.
It made sense
Animal
for why
companions.
they were tagging, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Real quick, who's everybody's favorite CG?
Ooh.
I can tell you what mine is.
You're not going to expect this, but I'm going to say Zidane.
Okay.
He's got a good one.
He has 2, doesn't he have 2?
Yeah, I like both of
The
them.
fluffy one?
Okay.
I like the one where the tail comes down on his weapon.
Sure.
For me, it'd probably be Saul. The way he comes down with his little, translucent skin and all. I thought that was always really cool. And the CG is pretty well done. The first one that he got.
I always thought that it was flip-flops that he had on.
Flip-flop Saul is never going
Does look
to...
like
That mental image is never going away.
I'm just gonna fanboy it and all of Lightning's. But if I had to choose a favorite of hers, probably Saviors.
Okay. Yeah, that one's really cool.
Yeah, I think
I said,
okay.
I'd say my favorite CG is Aldor King Rain.
Oh yeah,
That's
a
the
good one.
first time he blew up a
Yes.
planet, right?
From what it looked like, I think so, yeah.
And an honourable mention for Red Wing Cecil as well.
Mm.
Just the eye coming through. That's like really cool.
Yeah, and while I do believe Charlotte has become a bit overkill over the years, her Sacred Shield Charlotte animation, like the detail in her armor and then like that whole castle animation was just really well done.
And the smirk. The little tiny smirk, like, I got this. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
She's very cool. That was actually going to be my pick, so you beat me to it, so that's fine.
I'm sorry.
I'll just say Dark Reign and get it over with. How about that?
And also recently, I think Ethne's one's really cool as well.
Yes, I think that Ethne's is very cool.
If y'all know me, I'll just go ahead and say it. I'm very bad at picking favorites. So, like, me being able to pick one favorite, Outdoor King Rain, was... It took me a while to decide that. If I had top 10, however, Dark Reign is for sure on there. And I see MK in chat, I'm not surprised. Dark Reign is best!
Yep.
That's because of the nips.
The nips. That may or may not be pierced. We're not sure.
That is not the reason that I picked Dark Reign to be on my top 10.
Are we allowed to talk about stuff like that?
Are we allowed to talk about Dark Reign having nipples? Yeah, absolutely. Dark Reign definitely has
Okay,
nipples.
okay, whatever floats your boat.
It's a potential spoiler because you can't see them.
It's true. Yeah. We'll never know what's under those straps.
MK knows.
Darn.
So characters obviously bring us here, but events and content I think keep us here. What would you say is you guys' favorite mainline game that like got to do events in game, or were there any that you didn't really love doing?
I mean, my favorite Final Fantasy game is Final Fantasy VI. So any time that was involved was great. Although to this day, I never got the reflect ring because I just thought it was, unnecessary. And then I remember a couple of trials later where it was like, if you had it, it was simple. Otherwise, I had to use one of Sinzar's guides to get through that, which was great. Thank you for always being able to do that. But that was the one regret because that thing never came back, and it was like the only thing I didn't get.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat here. I'm with Sartre. FF4, Final Fantasy 4. I loved that, playing the normal game and anything involved with it. Huge Cecil fanboy. Probably not as big a fanboy as Sinzar with Bart's, but quite.
So I actually feel like the majority of the mainline Final Fantasy games they brought to Brave Exvius, while they were like faithfully translated in terms of like sprites and even loosely the move sets, I never found that any of them were that great in terms of being like challenging and memorable. The exception would be, and I'm not sure if this is quite allowed because it was only on JP, but the Final Fantasy XIV series boss battle against the Ultima weapon, I thought that was one of the best translations with a challenge that was very faithful to the fight. So if you played 14 and you did the Ultima weapon, the final boss of the first season in 14, it's a really mechanically complex fight, and they brought that over very, very well in the JP, and the fight was like spot on. It had all the mechanics. It had the Ultima at the end and all, and it was really great. The soundtrack also was very memorable. They brought that, and big regret that Global never brought that over, because I certainly begged for it behind the scenes and was told it was a big humbug because it was 14. But yeah, that was one of the few fights that was very, very well translated. I'm not talking about like words. I mean, just the fight was brought over properly,
like a good representation of it.
Yes. It had the Garuda, the Ifrit, the Titan, all the mechanics. It was just really well done.
Yeah.
Do we get to talk about Sinzar spy relations on this stream?
Well, I'm going to leave that up to him, but I think people would probably like to know more about the effort that he put into trying to make the game better for us.
Yes.
At this point, because the game is basically done, I can't like burn anyone, so to speak, but I can say that a few people did reach out to me behind the scenes once like my channel became popular and like started becoming like Sinzar's a guy in the community. A few people talked to me. You probably saw the sponsored content I got on that one time. Like me and Clay got sponsored during an anniversary for content like that. That was when like it became a lot more common. But yeah, so I had access to speak to team members. Now, as far as did I have any like authority or anything, zero. But I could certainly give feedback. And like I said, like when they were doing SBBs and they started stopping, like I was sending messages like once a week. Can we please get this? The community would love to have this fight, or this is the big problem the community is really upset about. Can you please address it higher up the food chain? So stuff like that. I was doing the best I could to be a player advocate behind the scenes as best I could, but it helps sometimes, and some things were absolutely addressed as a result. Well, at the very least, I think it was a result of my feedback. More like bug fixes and all would be really addressed immediately. Like I'd like have a direct thing. Like when a bug came out and people are like, we can't awaken this unit because it's missing the material. I'd message them. They'd say, I'm gonna talk to a developer. All right, we're gonna hotfix it tonight at midnight or whatever. Stuff like that. But as far as like big game things like pull rates or bundle prices and all that, I had no influence at all, and that's completely Square Enix's side.
Well, thank you for all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think anyone can question what you did for the game.
Well,
and yet they still didn't upgrade Bards.
Right.
I tried Bards and all the other upgrades. I kept saying this is such a sore spot in the community. Why is it not being done? And not to throw them under the bus, but it really did sound like Square Enix just didn't want it to happen. So
I don't think Final Fantasy V got any sort of decent treatment whatsoever, really, did it?
Well,
I'll get it one day.
That I'm sure SXM can relate to. When your favorite is not a majority favorite, you have to expect they're not going to be treated like Cloud or Lightning. I knew Barks would never be the meta. I knew that 5 is not that popular of a game. But no, like the unit upgrades in general, I just constantly fought for and sent feedback so often that we need it. And it was just told like it's a staffing issue. The upgrades take work. There's an approval process for every single change they make in the game. They got to go through meetings and all that. And at the end of the day, they just figured that, to speak bluntly, the unit upgrades would not bring money to the project, so therefore it's not worth the time spent on them.
That's such a shame.
Well,
I mean, it makes sense, but it's a shame.
Let's be honest, it would have brought money because you just spent all yours.
Well, again, all you have to do, though, is when they do a big update like that, put the unit back on banner, and people who don't have them will then try to get them if you make the upgrade worth it. But I get it. I get it. Here's a
You know,
question.
sorry. Sinzar spending $120 on 5-star Gilgamesh. You know, what's he going to spend on a new box with all the upgrades?
So for me, that was a lot. But over the years, talking to some of like the true whales, I know that my $120 was like the spare change under the couch cushion to some people, what they spend on the game.
Yeah.
Oh, you wanna talk about that? Guess how much I spent for 10-2 Yuna 7-star.
Ooh, tell us.
Just take a wild guess. This is
I'm afraid
7-star meta. The 7-star
600.
meta was a little less.
I was gonna go 5.
A little less.
Okay.
4. I spent $400 for 10-2 Yuna and the 10-2 girls during my Mega Whale days. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Dang.
Yuna did have a lot of, like, if you wanted to
Exactly.
equip a gun, you know, she gave you a lot of power. Let's just say that.
Tiny B. Let's go.
Let's go.
Wow.
Here's a fun question. If you could have single-handedly changed one piece of content, any type of content, or whether we're talking about like King Mogs or raids or anything, what one thing would you have like said, okay, I'm gonna fix this and I can make it better?
All of the shops. They got way too unorganized.
Yes, I agree with that.
Put the autoplay up to 100.
Autoplay up to 100. Yes.
that would be a time saver, yeah. This isn't necessarily something I would like fix. It's more that I would like dramatically increase the number of like equipment that have multiple active abilities on them. So things like Riku's Pouch and Ring of the Sea and Pod, like things that you can equip to useless characters that would make them useful again. Because as soon as my characters like left the meta and weren't useful anymore, like my inspiration to play the game tanked. So as long as I could keep my mascots and put new abilities on them, I would be happy.
Especially like supportive stuff. Like you don't need them to be doing tons and tons of damage, but like, you know, giving them cool like mitigation abilities or killer abilities or things like that.
Exactly, yeah.
For me, it would have been updating the systems in the game. For example, the vision card system that needs a major upgrade. Change the vision cards like a currency or something like that. Remove leveling entirely from the game. It's so pointless these days. After the first year of the game, leveling served no purpose. So I would remove all cactuars. I'd remove door pots. I'd remove enhancement materials. I'd remove awakening materials. All of that serves no purpose other than when you pull a unit, you've now got an hour and a half of like unit inventory management game to get them ready. It's so pointless. Like units should just pop out ready to go. All the abilities are maxed out. The unit's max level. There's no stat pots or anything. Like, it's such an outdated system that they just kept in because it's always been that way. It shouldn't be. It
Right.
pushes new players away. It really does.
Yeah, like I sometimes think how the game must be played by new players. I would never be able to grasp all of the things I need to do just to make a character like ready to play with. Like I would just give up essentially if I didn't know what to do.
Well, I actually had that conversation with a few people who like disappeared for a while and came back, who would say things like, you know, I got such and such unit. How do I make them better? I'm like, well, you gotta have this. You gotta have this. You gotta have this. You gotta have this. You gotta go get this item. You know, you gotta go, you know, farm these pots. You gotta farm, but I don't have to worry about it because I've just been playing every week and I have like a stockpile of stuff that I don't have to worry about it. You know, like so for me to get a new unit and get them up and running is like, it's effort, but it's doable. You know. But for them, it's like, it's just, you got to learn all these mechanics and learn all the menus and learn everything else. Like, it's just, it's a lot.
Well,
Yeah,
that's where your Asking Old Mog videos came in. Absolutely fantastic series.
Well, I appreciate that. That was ultimately the goal, was to answer those questions for people, for sure. I think if I could change... Oh, go ahead.
I'm saying it's not even that, not even new players. It was good for like players that, well, I wouldn't class myself as a veteran, but that had a little bit of experience but wanted to refer to something just to refresh their memories, etc.
I'm just going to piggyback off SXM.
Yeah.
Another thing that I would, because if you're talking about outdated units, I've always complained, dude, just increase the mods for their damage so we can keep using the old units that we liked. You know what I mean? Like, is it that hard? I don't know.
One thing I would have changed that I would have loved to see a long time ago is the ability to farm Xenostone shards within Clash of Wills.
That's a good one.
I would have loved to see that because I think I get it. Like, Clash of Wills gear is the best in the game, always will be. But you know, my idea was that like the Echelon 5 version of the boss would be able to drop Xenostone. It doesn't have to be like every single Echelon. You know, it can be up to the final one, the 5th one, and then it only could drop. Like, doesn't even have to be that many at a time that it can drop. Maybe between like, I want to say 50 to 100, something like that. I would have been fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have loved to see that.
That would definitely make it so that the items were not gate kept as hard as they were, you know?
Yeah,
What if you could
especially,
steal from the boss?
Ooh, stealing?
Oh,
So-
I miss stealing. Steal from Morgana.
So just to play devil's advocate for a moment, the issue with that Galaxybro would be as soon as you make it farmable, you know, effectively make it required for the top end players. So if it's dropping 50 a kill, and you need, I forget how much, it's like 3,500 for. So that's like you need to clear a Clash of Wills boss. I'm doing the math right, 70 or 700 times. No, 70 times. 70 times for a piece of gear. Like, that is grindy, and I would hate it. Oh, I would hate it. I really would.
I think maybe you would still get the rewards. You would just have like bonus that you could also farm from it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. Like, because yeah, what you're saying, Sinzar, sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. Really quick, Timothy, I am going to shout out your son and say happy birthday. And not only that, but Sharky's going to say happy birthday too. Happy birthday, Wesley. All right. Happy birthday. Thanks for watching all these years.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
If I could
It's like,
change
it's
one
like we've
thing,
done a radio show now.
if I could change one thing, it would have been Item World. Okay. I have this like crazy idea about how to make Item World better, and it involves you farming currency to buy the things you want instead of having to randomly get stuff. But yeah, Item World would have been it. I went on a big rant about it once.
They've actually changed Item World in JP recently. How in the Sinzar? You've got rate ups on certain tags now as well for the drop.
Well, it's a shame we don't see those changes.
I just didn't like the limits on like equipment and items and whatnot, because the last thing I wanted to do while I was in the middle of playing the game is be like, oh, you can't go and do anything because your slots are full. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a running joke in all the Final Fantasy games, because it's like, you know, from playing them for years, I would never get rid of anything, and you save your elixirs till the end, but you don't use them. So it's like that meme of like the guy holding a giant backpack and he can't move because he has all of your equipment. Like, that's what all these games are. But it's like the fact that they made us buy slots, and I would be like excited on the first of the month to get 5 purple tickets to expand them is ridiculous.
Yeah. I remember once
Which
I was having a conversation
even, like, renew that.
With Flip Method about like gearing units with like the most budget gear possible, and like he saved everything. So there was one time when I was like, do you have Buster Sword? And he was like, Cloud's Buster Sword? And I was like, no, there's an item called Buster Sword, and it's like, you know, +4 attack or something stupid like that. And he had it. He had it sitting in his inventory.
Another thing I think might have been cool for Item World if you could have upgraded all your equipment, like armor and accessories as well.
Yeah, being able to upgrade equipment would have been, accessories and shields and stuff like that, for sure. So, let's talk about collabs, because I think collabs were definitely a fun part of the experience of playing FFBE. Did any of you guys have a favorite that we got? Did you have any collabs that you just didn't like, or was there one that you wish we would have gotten but never got a chance to get?
Last Remnant was one that I wished we'd gotten. Never got it.
Was Last Remnant the one you made a character for?
Sure was. Yep. I even did all the work for him. We still didn't get it.
Yeah.
Chrono Trigger is the collab that I always wanted, but, you know, licensing happens. We got Secret of Mana. We got like a bunch of Mana stuff. Mana was when I switched from free to play to pay to win, and it's a decision I don't regret other than financially, because the amount of money that I've sunk into this is ridiculous. But
Oh, no.
I remember, that was when it started, and it was like, and in a couple of the groups that I'm in, it's a running joke, because it's like, yeah, why didn't we get Chrono Trigger? And I'm like, well, if you squint your eyes on Neovision, Randy, and Marl enough, like that, or that's Chrono and Marl, not Print. Yeah, so I'm like, we kind of got them, but no. And then Nier is always like the one where everybody basically like renewed their faith in this game. So.
Yeah.
I know they had a few Dragon Quest ones, didn't they? But I would have liked to see maybe them slip in just one Dragon Quest Builders one.
Yeah. For me,
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. I was just gonna say I was very happy with Tomb Raider, just because I'm so used to my favorite characters being garbage. So having Lara stay in the Clash meta for so long just felt amazing.
Lara really hung on there.
I looked up all of my units. I looked up all of my collaboration units here. And I'd say my favorite collab we got was hands down Kingdom Hearts. There's like did we get a collab for Kingdom Hearts 2? I can't remember, but we got one like for Kingdom Hearts 1 and also Kingdom Hearts 3. As for least favorite, I want to say Dragon Quest, or yes, I've never played Dragon Quest. I'm not too fond of it. I don't know if it's good or bad, but that would be least favorite.
I don't suppose we can leave out Xenogears either.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, my favorite, it's got to be the Nier series, or Nier, however you want to say it. And I don't know, you guys have probably heard me say this before. I just felt like collaborations are good and great. I just felt like sometimes they overdid it with FFBE. I don't know, that's just me personally. I know we got a lot of mana, we got a lot of, the Star Ocean Rena was great, you know what I mean? That was awesome, but I always just felt like, when they could have came out with something different, or they could have had like a featured banner unit that was somebody else from a mainline Final Fantasy. Like, I would have rather them kept it more Final Fantasy based rather than have so many collabs. But that's just me personally. But yeah.
Good deal. I guess I'm the only person who wanted a Ghostbusters collab, but that's just me,
Well, you got what's her face? Isn't she inspired by a Ghostbusters character?
I guess she does kind of seem like one. Gadria, yeah.
Gadria, yeah.
Yep. She's got that gun. Yep.
Where's the after years, man?
I know TMR was good at the time as well. Quote unquote.
So I guess nobody had a least favorite other than Galaxybro.
I didn't really like the real life collabs.
Sure.
Ariana, Katie, and Addison.
Yeah.
I understood their value in bringing in players, but I personally didn't love them.
Yeah.
I basically throw those collabs in as collabs I wish didn't happen.
What were you gonna say, Sithlord?
Yeah.
Ariana's song that was added to the game was potentially like the most catchy, awful thing I've ever heard. So it's a running joke, do you want to touch it? Like, just play that song and it'll get the community back together. We don't have to worry about anything.
The Addison Rae was horrible, man. Like, why?
Literally, why?
Yeah, that's the why. And she's in War of the Visions too, and was actually usable for a little bit. But I didn't even want to use her out of spite. But it was like, if this brings people to the game, great. But who's it going to bring? People that never play this sort of stuff.
People.
I don't think it brought a single
stick
person
around and learn the mechanics.
Exactly. By the time they both came out, it was like, well, I don't know how to do any of it. It was like, okay.
The first ever Addison Rae unit, like, what did you have to do to get her maxed out? Just log in for 3 weeks?
It was just logging in, yeah.
people who are interested in Addison Bray wanted to collect the unit and whatnot, like, is that all they did? Is that, all they didn't play any content or anything? They didn't use or any content? All they had to do was log in. So I'm like,
But then we had the Katy Perry one, and I remember because that was like the one mistake I hate in this game, where I did get 2 of them and I fused them because STMR Moogles were so hard to get back in the day, and now like they're everywhere. But it was like I could have had 2 upgrade packages, although 1 was always enough.
I never even got one, so I hear you on that one.
Forgive me for being out of touch, but I don't even know who Addison Rae is.
Well, she was like on Forbes top 10 list for like earners on the internet.
Forbes, remember, I'm from Scotland. I don't have these Forbes things.
She's just a TikTok influencer, like that. For whatever reason, they put
I was
her.
literally about to say that. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't she like one of the top 10 TikTokers in the world or something? I don't know.
Yeah, like we looked her stuff up, and it's her like twerking and talking, and we're like, okay, yeah, I don't know who,
There's a lot of thigh.
I don't even have a TikTok because I just can't stand anything over there. But
no, it felt like a huge Hail Mary pass, and it missed completely.
I just remember the commentary and the jokes, like people asking, like, is she going out on dates with Hiroki and like hanging out and like around the office and things like that. It was funny to see people talking about
was simping over her. That's what the joke was.
Who knows?
I'm surprised they never asked that about you, girl. I've seen as you've got his hoodie.
I do have a hoodie. It's a special thing. It's in my closet. Yep. Let's talk about music and vision cards and art and things like that. Like, do you guys have any favorite songs that appeared in the game that are from FFBE? Like, obviously, like if you love a specific franchise, like the vision cards have that music on it. But like, do you have any favorite FFBE music?
I do.
Go for it, Rooks.
It's the opening theme. It's so good. The variation of that Final Fantasy opening theme for Brave Exvius is actually one of my favorites. It's very good.
People are saying Moment of Recall. Which one is Moment of Recall? I'm drawing a blank.
I think it's like, I can't even. You know what it is when you hear it. It's one of the more common themes that they play on the menus.
Okay.
Yeah, the home starters on it, dude. There you go.
Just the home screen music. Okay.
The home screen music before we had the whole UI update when vision cards were able to play music.
Yeah, it's like it's a piano theme.
Got it.
Like a very, very calm piano theme.
Yeah, it's good.
Was that the one that they turned into a they had like a lo-fi remix?
Yeah, I think that was in the mix.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I have a controversial take.
Do it.
And I'm not being ironic. I actually really like the music in the musical.
In the season 3 musical?
No, the FFBE musical.
Oh, okay.
That was held in Japan.
Got it.
A couple years ago. Yeah. So I think some of the songs are like based on the same melodies that you have in the game, and that music, it would often get stuck in my head.
Okay.
My favourite two are probably the boss music, the Esper ones, and the one with the voice, the singing voices. The one that's the new Morgana's got on just now. Now, when you heard that music, you knew you were in a boss battle.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, to like take the other side of the coin, I actually couldn't tell you a single song from Brave Exvius. I've always thought the Brave Exvius soundtrack was not memorable at all. And I'm not trying to be negative. It's just like, as soon as you said, Gert, we can't talk about, the sound, the vision card sounds from other games.
Well,
I'm like, I've never used a Brave Exvius sound, but I've always found them very generic and dull.
So you frequently
don't stand
had
out
like
to me.
the lock vision card on yours for a while, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The ones from classic Final Fantasies or Collabs, I've used a lot of them, and a lot of them I love. For example, Forever Rachel from 6 is amazing. There's I think it's the Memories, whatever, from 9. That song is great. The card I used, my final card was the Xenogears, the music box soundtrack. I'm not sure what it is. The little music box from Ellie or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a great soundtrack. But like the Brave Exvius music, I couldn't name you a single melody from Brave Exvius that I remember. They just never stood out to me. I don't know.
I just don't know the names of them. Like, so I know like all the tunes and stuff. Although I did play a lot of the game for 8 years with the sound turned off. But like, there are definitely some ones that I really like some of the ones from like the Dark Lineage event. The music from those, the updated Season 4 battle music is pretty cool. There's a handful that just like really stand out. The Dark Visions music's pretty cool. It's repetitive, but like, it's pretty cool.
And of course, everyone loves the Chocobo music, don't they?
Yeah.
As long as you're
there is
talking
one
about
track.
Music, very catchy.
They had a
There's
live
one track
band
called
at the first fan fest, and it's like I couldn't tell you what any of those songs were, and then they never had a live band at any of the other fan fests after the 2017 one. So I guess that kind of goes with what Sinzar said, where it's like, the music's there, and it's like all Final Fantasy games, the music's great, but it's just like not memorable.
Yeah,
I ran the Final Fantasy VI Setzer Search for Friends card until the end. So
it was really cool though to be at. I can only really speak to the LA event, but like when you actually heard the music like in the environment, was just really cool. I really enjoyed. It was a really neat experience to just have that happen as a person who enjoys music and game soundtracks and movie soundtracks in particular. Like it was neat to just be immersed in that.
Yeah, because let's face it, be honest. Like the whole series, the Final Fantasy series, it's got great music.
I go to Distant Worlds whenever it's in like the 6-state area that I'm in, because it's just amazing to see live, and it's the environment, and then hearing it with other fans. It's like I don't even have the words to describe it, but it's always worth going to.
Yeah. What has been the biggest favorite UI or system rework changes that you've gotten over the years?
The friends list search.
Yes.
Conversion of currencies. No more cactuars, pots. All of that's a currency menu. No longer kept as units. That was so good.
Yeah.
Mass fusion.
Auto battle for me.
Auto battle also good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lifesaver.
I mean, those are probably the top 3. So
I actually really, it was controversial when it came out. I like the big, the in-battle display that shows like all the breaks and all the imperils that the boss has on them, like all the info panels that pop up. Some people didn't like that at all. I really enjoyed it, like as a person, for being able to be able to like look at all the details. Flip says removal of crafting time for items. You mean you don't like farming mod cakes?
Yes, I was just thinking of that. No, it's not even that. Like way back in the day, when
Gravity
you went to
rods
craft
and
an
all
item,
that
you
stuff.
literally had to wait. You had to wait for it to be done.
Yep.
That was bad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that's over.
Funny. You guys are funny. I like it. Hey, this is a fun one. And I actually have some feedback on this one. So if they ever had another unit design contest, do you have something that you would make, that you would suggest?
I've already done it. That fan unit I made for Last Remnant, that's my perfect example.
So even if it wasn't if they turned that into an FFBE character instead of the Last Remnant, like you still like think the mechanics that you came up with, like you still feel solid about those.
Yes. If they could use that kit on just a whatever unit, it would have been really cool, and it would have been tactically useful in a lot of fights.
And unique, because I remember that was the whole thing, was he had like stuff that nobody else had.
The unit I wanted to submit, but I just didn't have the time or patience. It was like a running joke. It was just going to be a scientist of some sort, but he was, the master of unforeseen circumstances, because it always happens in this game. So like he would have like kind of like the Setzer like gamble ability, but it would just like drop a rainbow crystal on the enemies that could just slaughter anybody or could do one hit of damage. Like, you never know. It's unforeseen circumstances, you know. And then all of his moves would have been like the map text 90762, you know, with different numbers.
Fantastic.
When they just like the running bug of the game. That's what I wanted as a unit to add to the thing.
I like it. I like it.
That's great.
So just to answer your other question, if you could fix one character, who would you fix and what would you fix?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we're using that to like, who would we buff to make them more relevant, there's a whole list. But if we're talking someone that is fundamentally broken and should have been fixed for years and years, it'd be Esther. That stupid LB field caused so much drama and headache for 2-something years. And they never fixed it. So and I would call that fundamentally broken, that she was such a design flaw.
Yeah.
And they never did anything.
You're of course talking about Stormseeker Esther. Yeah.
Yes, the one that put the LB field on the left side. It was just answer from start to finish.
Because I remember when they created that, I was thinking to myself, are they going to do something cool where enemies are going to have limit breaks? But they never did. Like there's no need for it. You know, missed opportunity. Good feedback though. I had an idea. So back before like they started letting us like vote on characters and stuff like that, I had an idea for trying to create like the Zon stealing buffs and spreading stuff mechanic, but without it being specifically tied to Zon. And it had the character was actually going to be like an old school demon hunter that like captured demons in mirrors. And so the idea was going to be that the demon would like interact with the enemies or the buffs and stuff like that, and then like in the shift form you could break the mirror open, the demon would come out, all the buffs would come out, and it'd be like a tag chaining buffer character. That was my idea, but we never got a chance to do that.
Good idea.
Yeah. I have no ideas. I just want my favorite characters updated.
Yes.
Yes. Same here. I'm not overly creative for my own unit design or anything like that, but yeah, and then I guess for me it would just make a lot of the older units some Neovisions. You know, Lila maybe.
Dial.
So if I could just pose a question to SXM or really anyone that really has favorite units they want to use in meta content. Now, of course, obviously the best solution is buffing like Mercedes or Luca directly. But would you have been satisfied, SXM, if they would have opened up the skin system universally? So you could have, for example, used the unit Esther, but had her literally the sprite of like Luca. Would that have been like something that you were excited about? Or would that have been like, but it's not really them, you know? Would that have been something to satisfy you?
Well, it's just actual in-game cosplay, really, isn't it?
Yeah, literally.
I mean, like, yes and no. I think canonically I'd be like, why is she using lightning attacks? That makes no sense. But it would definitely be something that I would be using, even though I'd be questioning it. But no, it's just like, it's more that it's very clear that there's favoritism in FFBE. Like certain characters will get remade over and over and over again, and others are just passed aside. I just wish it was a bit more fair. Even if the units don't end up being meta, I'm sure both those characters would be very niche. Like if you redid either Luca or Mercedes, they would obviously be like the queens of like Aqua Killer or something like that. It's just like, instead of getting like our 7th version of Charlotte, I wish they would consider other characters they left behind.
Yeah,
that's mostly my point of contention with it.
And I'll just say that your little comic you did about Charlotte getting that new unit, SXM, is one of my favorites of all time. I love that comic so much.
The feels spot on.
I think if I was going to fix one character I like the character but can't use them because of just like how messed up it was, would have been Christmas Tiana.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, she seemed like she would be good when we first got her.
There's just problems.
And then I don't know what happened.
And there's really easy ways to fix it. But like, I did take Tiana to Morgana, the Morgana fight, for when I did my Christmas units clear, and like her support kit was phenomenal and fun and made the fight like very doable. But then like you try to do damage with her and it's just like, you're doing too many elements all at once, and the mod's bad, and I forgot to do 25 stacks of chaining, and yeah, it's just too many problems. I would fix her.
That is one unit that, you know, sometimes you think back and you're like, why? That's a why unit for myself.
Mm-hmm. There was a whole era that was why to me, and it was when you had to like do several different moves before you could actually use the power move for your unit. So you go like 3 turns just setting stuff up, and then you would, you know, attack with the unit. And it wasn't even like a power move; it was just a regular move. Like, this is excessive.
Well,
It wasn't fun.
There's definitely been a few Y units over the years, isn't there? Like for example, FF1 Rain.
Yeah, I don't understand that one. I don't. I've never used him either. So, you know, I don't know.
I think it was just like a collab unit to celebrate. I don't know if it was an anniversary or like a cafe event. They were having something in Japan, and they're like, "Oh, cosplay unit." It literally made no sense.
Yeah, him and Lastwell.
He's got 85% break. So new players, there you go.
There you go. So, something to do. Something to do. Cool deal. Well, we're gonna move on into our one of our last bits, and that is going to be you guys. So you guys in chat, you know, if you've got a question that you want to ask any of our guests or pose for us to discuss for a few minutes, you know, now's your chance. If we see an interesting one there, we'll grab it, or if there's, you know, something that you wish you could hear us talk about, you know, that was a impactful part of the game, or just something that you always wondered about, you know, as long as everyone's comfortable talking about it, we can go into whatever kind of comes up here, and we're actually going to try and read the chat and respond to it, because we don't have a script we're following, and that's just the reality of doing this. But it is, you know, I think a neat opportunity for people who maybe don't get a chance to ask these kind of questions. So if you've got one, what do you got? Is there a game you would have wanted to see a collab for, or any ideas for how it would have worked? That's a good question. So not like a series or just anything like that, but just like is there a game specifically? Anybody?
First thing that comes into my head is Street Fighter 2.
Street Fighter?
Okay. I'd probably go for... What's that?
Yeah, Blanca from Street Fighter 2. That would have been a cool character.
Yes. NV plus Bison. You kind of have NV. You have a character that looks like Bison. What's his name from the Dragon Quest Die? Looks kind of like Bison. You know.
Actually, new Fina in JP is coming out today. She's got a fucking Bison hat.
She does. I was thinking that actually. I was thinking that when I was looking at some of the pictures. You want to see me cosplay as Wilhelm? I guess I could.
Wait, who's cosplaying?
A Bag of Pups wants me to cosplay as Wilhelm.
You have to get rid of
cosplay.
You have to get rid of the beard and just leave the tash, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd have to get rid of all of this and just leave this, and then stop working my legs.
Yeah, baby legs.
Why did we personally choose FFBE over any other non-square or gachas? What made you stick for so long? We kind of addressed that at the beginning. I don't think I really said... Well, I did say. I said I got into this just because I was playing another Final Fantasy. I was playing Record Keeper and had some friends. But, you know, what stuck me is... Definitely what kept me in it is trying to help people and trying to learn how to play the game right. So...
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Vince. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to pose my own question to the panel.
Okay.
So, like, what was one of y'all's most either favorite or most memorable big controversy in Brave Exvius?
One of them's got to be Esther's Nerf, isn't it? The original one.
No, I mean like for you personally, and if that was for you personally, then sure. But I mean like personally, what did you personally find as the biggest misstep or drama moment in the game?
End of it.
I'll just say when they had what was it, Neovision Elena as meta defining, and then she was just like, "Come on, bro."
Yeah.
You're gonna call her meta defining, and then she's not. Like, what's in store for us after that?
Yeah.
And now here we are.
I see comments in the chat right now saying Clash of Wills Another.
That was mine.
Guys,
Yes,
I'm right there. I'm right there with you. Clash of Wills Another was just a dumpster fire.
Yeah, and I remember right when the NV era started, they started skipping a whole bunch of story events, and we're like, dude, stop. And they're like, we get it, we hear you, we're sorry. And they immediately continue to skip story events. Like that, I personally know a lot of... What?
Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was saying, so wasn't there people caught cheating in Dark Visions?
Mm.
Yeah,
that's another bad one. Another bad one, yeah.
There's a ton of scandals.
You know, I mean, you can understand certain games that you might think like they're quite hard. Certain things you might want to cheat at that, but the FFBE, why on earth would you want to cheat at the FFBE? It's just not that sort of game.
Yeah.
No.
And you wouldn't get anything out of doing it, and then they wouldn't. All they'd do is just delete you at the end and like stop you from entering the next one, and then you could do it again. And that's kind of why like they stopped Dark Visions, because they didn't have the staff to keep getting rid of the cheaters.
Mm-hmm.
So we got screwed because of that. So it was like, thanks for that whole thing that you decided to do.
That was
for me,
total dumpster fire.
I think for me, my like, again, this is from like my personal viewpoint. The thing that irritated me the most of all from all the years was in like the first or second year is in what was it called, Chamber of Arms, when we had that like 6 or 8 month delay where the bosses were not released, and then when they came out like 8 months later, they were so power crept, and that was like that stuck with me for all the years. How frustrated I was about that, because I had played them on the JP server and I knew the intended challenge level, and I was so looking forward to that when they came to global to make the content for it, for the player base to experience it at the proper level. And then they just delayed Chamber of Arms for like 8 months, and when it finally came out, people are going there and like killing it in 3 turns, and like, this is useless content, who cares? It's because like, you're not supposed to be this strong when the boss came out. And it really ruined it for the most of the global audience, and I think that was just a huge mistake on their end.
Yeah. So I'm gonna answer your question and then I'm gonna roll that into a question that just popped up on chat. So I think the biggest misstep has just in general been a 2-parter: communication and reading the room. And so the question is, what would have saved this game from extinction? What would you, if you had to fix something? I would say just follow through. You know, if you say you're going to do something, then do something. If you say you're not going to do something, then don't do that thing. If you say, hey, here's what you're going to be able to do with these tickets, spell it out. Say you can use 5 tickets and you can get 1 of each thing. You can't get 50 shards. You can only get 10. You know, tell us exactly what it is and then follow through with it. But then on top of that, don't sell, hey, this is going to be so great, and then you release it and it's down here. You know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, don't do things like that, and your players will be happy. Happy players spend money. You know, even if it's just a little bit of money, all those players spending a little bit of money adds up to a lot of money.
Yeah, it's kind of like, don't give us the after years tab and then not give us the after years units.
Because everyone knows that people will pay money for good units.
Well, they'll pay a reasonable amount.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to go back to Zon and how outrageous he was.
You guys, me and D. Barry probably kept the game alive there for a little while.
Yeah. I do have a
Someone
question
had
about
to.
that. To ask the rest of the panel. what was your first like red flag or alarm bells that EOC wouldn't be that far away, at least for global?
Various times when we should be getting news or information or updates and they just wouldn't appear. So like the first time, a monthly bulletin didn't come out because there was going to be no Dark Visions or Clash of Wills that month. Stuff like that.
Yeah, once they started removing content from the game, that was like no more raids, no more Dark Visions. It was like, okay, then what are we playing and financially supporting this game for anymore? Like, to do what? A King Mog event that you don't even need bonus units for? How is this going to continue? But, people were like, no, you can't say it's going to end. And we're like, I don't want it to. But that was when we kind of knew it was going to happen sooner.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was when, the bundles, when they really started, 25 shards for 50 instead of 50 for 50 or whatever the prices used to be. Once they started doing stuff like that, it was kind of like, you're reaching now, man. Like, come on.
That was like the huge mistake, because if you kept the shards at 50 or like didn't take them out for the tickets, like people would have continued, like it was reasonable to spend a little bit of money. Like, oh, I can get this character to EX2 because I can buy a bundle. Like people would do that, but they like gutted that years ago, and it was like, and raised the prices.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always like, stop doing this. Like, because getting like 10,000 people to spend $25 will keep things going instead of like 10 of us spending 1,000. Like it just doesn't make any sense. But
for me,
Go ahead,
the first red flag was cutting language support, because that right away, when you cut language support, I mean, there's only one reason you do that, is you're not making enough money anymore. So that, like, right away, I knew, oh, wait a minute, something's not right here. And then it started, steadily declining since then.
And hand in hand with that was press for more information.
Yeah. Like, for me, it was when Replica Lapis came out. Like, as soon as they started constraining the amount of actual Lapis you could use on the units and banners that you wanted, like, I don't know, I was watching the game from there, and it did seem like a steady decline.
And then they took the shards away that you could get every, week for Replica Lapis. And it was like, what are you doing?
It was such a neat way to like creatively use resources for free players. So I understand why that would potentially be costing them money. But like, still, like it was really, I really enjoyed being able to do that, and was sad to see it go.
And so some of the content that they were putting out, it just looked like there was a general laziness about it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of rinse and repeat type stuff.
They just gave up on the details on any of the items and descriptions, just completely gutted.
A gun from a faraway world.
That's a quality item.
From a mysterious lady.
Yes.
Yes.
So this question came from Flip really quick. This is a really good one that I think I want to hear from everybody. Is there a strong memory? Hold on, I have to scroll up. Stop chatting, everybody. Is there a strong memory that you have around FFBE that is not playing the game, like going to a fan festa, meeting an FFB friend, being a guest on the beige carpet for the first time? What would be your strong memories that is not specifically tied to the game?
Right. Well, I'm going to say right off the bat, this is obviously my first time on the beige carpet, and I'll remember it for the rest of my life. And also, Ger and Sart using my friend units in a couple of the videos as well. It's always good to be mentioned in a video. I mean, I've even pointed out to my dad, said, "Dad, look, it's me on YouTube."
Ah, that's great.
For me, it's definitely when I got out of rehab, I didn't even know what Discord was. So I got out of rehab. I was working at Denny's at the time. I was a graveyard cook, and when I had nothing to do, I'd be on the game, just playing whatever. And I would watch Sinzar and Gonzi, and shout out to Hal. But on one of Gonzi's videos, I saw the link to Discord, clicked on it, and the first time I was ever introduced to Discord, and an FFB help ever since, and that's probably that memory right there.
So I actually don't know anyone in real life that plays Brave Exvius, and I've never been to a fan fest because they're always on the opposite side of the country from me. But my I guess best out of game experience was when Square Enix contacted me directly for that sponsored anniversary video. That was pretty cool. I thought that they had, the one and only time they've ever done sponsored content, and I was invited to that. So that was pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah. And I'll actually say my favorite event was probably yours, Flip, for the 5th anniversary event that we hosted unofficially together with a bunch of other content creators. Like, I didn't really think I was anyone of, infamy or anything in the community, and the fact that you reached out to me, it was very flattering. So that was a lot of fun to coordinate and plan with everybody.
Absolutely. I don't know if any of you guys watched my long retrospective video about how FFBE touched my life, but like I will say the unofficial anniversary live streams, there was this moment where when I first joined the Discord for that, and all of a sudden I was in a group chat with Sinzar and Liv Dilly and what was the guy's name? Just all these people, and I took a screenshot of like all these people's names, and I sent it to MK, and I was like, MK, you gotta check this out. Look at what's happening. I'm in this group chat with all these people, and it was just like the neatest experience, just to be this guy who's just doing this weird thing in his basement and somehow being connected to all these other people who are internet famous, and so I think it was just really, I agree, it was just really neat to be able to get connected to people, and I think that's been my favorite part is, and I've said this in multiple live streams, that this has been my favorite single player game that I play with other people, and so yeah, that's it.
Yeah, getting to meet the players at fan fests is basically what's, because otherwise it's you just use the companion units, but it's talking in Facebook groups and then kind of talking in Discord. I never got too deep into that, but I was in a couple of them, and not just learning strategies, just getting to talk to people a lot. Me and Flip sat in the second or first row at the LA Fan Fest and just talking about his media obsession, and is just what this was all about. And then just me getting dumb luck with one of the Facebook contests where I actually won the only NeoVision hoodie, which was the only thing I ever wanted from playing this game. And I got it out of the contest. Was just great. And then helping you, get the one in LA that Hiroki literally took off his back.
Yeah.
Was just I don't have the words.
Unsigned.
On that one.
Yeah.
Very unsigned, and Gert's, which is Gert's never washed yet.
No, I've never washed it. It still smells like him and everything.
He signed it. You can't wash it.
Yeah, I'm never gonna wash it. The snowball fight.
Yeah,
that was a fun event. Maybe
it'll be worth a few dollars in a few years.
It may very well be. He has produced a fair number of games.
Do you think that's the last time we're going to see him before, the game officially shuts off?
I think that, so he made that video a few months ago, where he just seemed really, really serious and tired, and I think that probably will be the last time we see him in that capacity. I think personally, but I don't know what you guys think.
So what I have heard is there is no more plans for any kind of live stream with anybody. Of course, they can always change their mind, but at the current time, that's, to my knowledge, no plans for any more live streams, unfortunately.
Doesn't JP still have them though?
Oh yeah, well JP is still going on.
It's going. it's going very strong.
Yeah.
They just announced season 5. It's not going anywhere.
No, I know. I mean, record keepers on year 10 over there. It's like, that's what I've been saying, where FFBE is going to be like record keeper now, where it keeps going. But it's like, for whatever reason, they didn't stray from the formula, and it just continues to work. And like, we tried all this extra stuff, and now we get to like, hold hands like in Toy Story 3 and just move off into the sunset.
Right, but I don't want to seem... Oh, go ahead.
I'd like to ask Sinzar, what's your plans for content on the JP side? Are you going to carry on doing stuff?
I'll still post like poll videos in any kind of like big major trial that I do. But honestly speaking, I'm very casual on the JP server, and just because Global is no longer active, I'm not like all of a sudden playing JP more. I'm still very casual on the JP server. So like you'll see a random JP video every now and then on my channel, but like, do I plan to mainstream JP? Not really.
Wait until Bart's comes out.
Oh, you'll see a bunch of videos then.
Yeah, I kind of sense the life's kind of been sucked out of you a wee bit as well with the EOS Global.
Yeah, I mean, honestly speaking, I've pretty much finished on Global. I set a bunch of friend units. I changed my friend message like a farewell message, and I haven't logged in for like 6 days. So effectively, I'm kind of done on Global. Just there's nothing to do, for someone that's already beaten all the content. I log in and what? Do a daily video summon for a unit I don't need. So there's really just nothing else to do on Global, honestly speaking.
10 more free rainbows you got to sell every day.
I'll give you a challenge. You have to keep my friend units alive. That's your challenge.
Uh-oh.
So I'm gonna... Oh, go ahead, Rooks.
I guess I was going to have a question unless you want to move on.
Oh, no, go ahead. What's your question?
Okay, so what's everybody's favorite era of Global, and what is their proudest moment and favorite trial?
Favorite era?
7-star, Scorn of the Wicked Moon.
Nice. Yep, Telfusanis was a good one with Zero.
Telfusanis and the robot Aigion or whatever, and this is, it's dangerous, but I'm just being honest. I fought him driving home from work with Frevia and Tillith. It took like 42 turns, but I beat him, and that's when I went and got Frevia tattooed on me afterward, because it was a challenge, and it wasn't with like a guide, it was just like we set them up and you did it. And it was right after Telfusanis. That was the last where it was you could just run Lucas and Kryla, and just you didn't have to go crazy with learning moves and stuff. And after that, the game just got a lot more intense.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I remember I will pull for units and I will follow videos, but I'm done strategizing at this point.
Yeah, I think for me it was probably 3-star Carbuncle. I think it took me 171 turns.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
I think my favorite trial that came out was the first Malboro trial, which is titled The Rumble of Malboro.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when we were using 6-star units, right?
Yeah, and if we didn't kill the two at the same time, it restarted.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Took me 92
so
beat that thing.
is it just that I didn't know what I was doing, or did other people also find Bahamut's Island a challenge when it first came out?
No, when it first came out, if you didn't if you weren't prepared for all the ambush stuff, it was pretty gnarly.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid you did the whole thing without a rat tail too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody in chat was anyone remembered Maxwell? That's a Brave Frontier unit, am I right? Yeah, I 100% remember Maxwell.
I'll answer my own question real quick. So favorite era, definitely 7-star. Favorite trial, I just gotta say probably all of them. But to key in, the first trial I did by myself getting out of rehab, I pulled for 7-star Dark Fina, and I think that was the weekend of the Bomb Family trial, and just smoked it with Fina. And the I think that was probably that memory sticks with me. So
I think Antonola was quite tricky, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't fully understand like all the different pieces and the parts, yeah. Sinzar, you were going to say something about Bahamut Island, I think.
Oh, I was going to say, well, because SXM directly asked, is it just me? Or I was just going to say that it's one of those things where if you go in prepared, it's like clockwork. But if you go in there like blind, then yes, the ambushes will just wreck your day. But if you have a properly built team, then they're pretty toothless. But you really have to know in advance what to build to negate all the danger.
I think for me, my favorite era was actually NVAs. Like I really wish that there had been better NVAs. You know, like there were some that were really, really cool, and some that just had really neat support kits. Like Elena's NVA had a really neat support kit and it could make you immune to damage for like certain fights and things like that. And I really liked that era, like where like the fights were like reasonably challenging, but you could build NVAs with just like collections of stuff to be able to like to go do stuff. Kazdriu says, Carlet was a really cool one. The NVA Squall, NVA Titus, like there were just some really cool NVAs, and I think that was probably my favorite time period.
Yeah, I agree, because it was also a surprise too. You didn't know who would get the special treatment.
And yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So I will ask.
Go ahead.
Are there ever going to be any like I know Sinzar plays, I play JP. Beardeh just said that he started JP too. Are there going to be more refugees from Global entering JP now? Or are you guys pretty much done?
I'm done. I'm not. I don't. If I knew how to like read Japanese, I'm not getting a translator or an emulator or any of that sort of stuff. And it's like I am open about how much money I have sunk into not one but two FFBE games, and I play War of the Visions, which I'll ride out until the end. But like I am a big console gamer that has not played console games in years because of FFBE. Even if I got into a game like Final Fantasy 16, which I still haven't finished, which is ridiculous of me, but like I have to stop playing every 4 hours to go back in and do like the repetitive stuff on the game, in FFBE. So I love them, but like this is the sign for me to just, back off and get back to like, the games that I like.
I will say that you should go finish 16. It's very good. But for me, I started SOC, and I would really love to create a JP account, but I know if I do, I won't throw tons of money into it. But I'm a single dad. I don't think it's a wise idea for me to start a JP account. And I'm also a console gamer. There's a ton of games I need to finish up. I need to go Platinum Rebirth and all that. But I do think about it pretty often. Like, I could still play FFBE if I just started a JP account, but I don't know if it's the best thing right now. I'm kind of like with Sithlord. Like, maybe it's time to just put it to rest.
I haven't even finished Final Fantasy VII Integrate or Rebirth either.
I think for me, it's just after 8 years of this, I'm ready to start playing games again that reward skill and creativity rather than just pulling or having just dumb luck. Especially with how many times I've been like absolutely burned on the dumb luck. Anybody who's ever watched my pull streams, you know how it goes. Like I'm ready to just play games that are rewarding. In different ways. So
I agree with you.
I'll give a shout out to all the indie game developers that I just burn through all their games. I buy like one a week, I'll play it, then I move on to the next one, and they're really fun. I really enjoy my time. And for the most part, the indie games are relatively short games, so you can knock them out in 3 days. But that's me. I love indie games. I buy so many of them and I play through all of them.
Yeah. Here's a
Play
question.
that Ender Lilies.
Is anyone hoping for a better sequel for FFBE? If so, what would your expectations be? What would you want in the game?
Data transfer.
No, your waifus are being deleted.
Trading units.
I know.
I would say that if like Brave Exvius 2 came out and it was still being co-managed by Gumi Square Enix, I would probably stay away. Just knowing what I do now and what a humbug that causes, and so much of the problems are a result of that partnership, I would probably not do it. If one of them self-published and not a partnership where they had creative control at the same time as running the game, then I'd probably check it out. But knowing what goes on behind the scenes and how many issues with two captains on the ship, it didn't work out, and it caused a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not necessarily hoping for a sequel either. I'm just gonna write fan fiction.
I like it. Gray Philosopher asks, what games are we talking about that are skill-based games? Thinks a Mario Kart 8 stream would be fun. I actually do really like Mario Kart. It's like one of the only games that I'm competitive about. But I don't have the ability to play it online because I play Mario Kart 8 on a Wii U. Let's just be real about that. And that service has been disconnected. But I also am currently
don't hit me with a turtle.
What was that?
I say don't hit me with a turtle.
Oh, I totally will. I'm currently it's on my list to go back and to finish all the bosses on Hollow Knight without getting hit. That's another just skill-based thing that I'm talking about. There can be games that have like randomness to them. I don't mind like games like roguelikes and things like that if they're fun. For the King is another good one that I like. It can have random elements. I like there to be like that you can use skill to mitigate the randomness, if you know what I mean. Here's a question that Tech Black asked: if they would have done a story event based on FFBE content and units, what would you like to see again? And don't say precursors. So I can't say precursors. I don't know. There's so many characters that we never saw any information about. Like, that if the only way you know about them is if you go in and you read the lore. So like, a unit like Abigail, for example, we know that she's a DJ, but we don't know anything about why we care about Abigail. So I think there's just like tons and tons and tons of units that you could do. Really quick, we just hit our follower goal on Twitch. Of 300 followers. So if you've ever followed, now is my time to say thank you. So yeah.
I'm applauding over here.
Yay! Exciting times.
Congratulations.
Is that what that guitar sound is?
What about you guys? Are there any characters? Are there any characters that you never got a chance to see a story event though that you would love to have had more information about?
I can think of one.
Well, me and SXM got ours out the way.
Yep. I was always kind of waiting for the plot bomb to drop that Olive is still alive and she like escaped to a portal or something and she didn't actually die. Like, I don't know. There's just all the little tidbits of information you get in the bios. Mm-hmm. There's tons of stories that probably needed to be concluded, but we just never, like, they're global characters, so there was no hope of ever getting to all of their backgrounds.
Yeah.
One storyline that really was never explored very much was the Zoldad storyline with Shira, Jake, Soze, and Dr. Lazarov. I would have loved to have seen how Lazarov made the whole country turn into zombies and rise up, and we never really got anything on that other than the 5 minutes on that con, and then we moved on. I would have loved to find out more.
Yeah, Dr. Lazarov was a good baddie, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do think once the series does wrap up, so I guess after season 5 or whatever, they are gonna revisit all of those in season storylines and give a little bit of closure to all of that.
I'm always waiting for like there to be a lore drop that this whole thing has been Rain has a fever and he's in a hospital and he's just like inventing all this in his head. So like making the meme that everybody is Rain actually come true.
It is true. Everybody is Rain.
Like Alice in Borderlands. Though.
Yeah. Cool deal. All right. Well, we've had a lot of really fun questions, and I really appreciate all of you guys for, being able to be open about it. But I think we're probably reaching a point where it's good to kind of close up. One thing that I have as far as a closing thought goes is that one thing I hear repeatedly from people is that they came to this game during either a dark time in their life, or they use this game to deal with difficulty, or that it was like a foundation for them to stand on. I hear that a lot, and I think that what makes that work is not necessarily just the game itself, but just being able to interact with people over it, and having a within reason a relatively healthy community compared to other games that I've played. And I think that that says something about this game, that it was able to be something that people could rely on and stand on. I personally have mine. I'm hearing that everybody, or that multiple people on the panel had similar stuff. I know people were saying in chat, that they had the same kind of stuff going on. And so I just want to say thank you to the game itself and the universe of it for being that for everybody who needed it, and all the various forms that takes. But are there any other thoughts that you guys have before we kind of wrap up?
I mean, I'm with you, where it's like Final Fantasy has always been this like positive light in my life. Like it was around before I like turned to drugs and stuff, and it's there when I got back. I mean, I have 2 kids and they're both named after Final Fantasy characters, so it's Vincent and Leo, and it's like they will always, it's always something important to me. It's like I love playing them. It brings balance to everything, because I'm obviously a big Star Wars fan too, so balance is important, and it's like I can't, it helps me get out of my introverted shell and like talk to people, and like nerding out with other Final Fantasy fans is just amazing. Like I don't want anything more than that in life, other than being a good dad and taking care of everything, which I do anyway, so it's fine.
Listen, Final Fantasy has some good dads in it. Okay, you're in good company.
Yeah, man, my son's also named after his first and middle name, there's a 7 and a 15 reference. So, but just to piggyback off that, man.
Even Rain's a dad now.
What did I say about spoiling games that are closing?
Ish. It's just an anniversary event. It's fine.
Yeah, it's all good.
Closing thoughts, though. I came into the game, like I said, during the peak of my substance abuse issues, and just the fact that it was Final Fantasy, right? And Sinzar is right. Like, I've played a couple other mobile games, some Fire Emblem, like whatever else was around, and I've even played War of the Visions like 6 times. You know what I mean? Nothing has stuck except FFBE. It was good. The combat system was good. The character designs were awesome. Storyline was good for the most part, and just it is sad to see it go, but I think I have more positive memories of it, especially getting clean and being level-headed and going through definitely the 7-star era. Once that 7-star era started and I was clean off drugs, and that was a good time in my life. I had the money to spend too, so that was nice too. But yeah, man, and just getting into the Discord community with, the main chat is Gonzi Sinzar's Discord, FFB help, and got a lot of friends. I seen the MK in there, and there's a lot of people that I chat and debate with, but it's just been fun, and it's sad to see it go, but all good things come to an end.
just
No,
to
without the community. Go ahead, Sinzar.
I was going to just touch on what Gert said about how Brave Exvius has a pretty welcoming and helpful community, and I pretty much agree with that. I'm just curious if your thoughts, Gert or anyone, do you think that's because for the most part Brave Exvius caters to like older players, not really like kids and teens? Do you think that's why the community is like more mature, so to speak?
I can speak a little bit to that, just like from my personal experience. Like, because I'm like really nerdy about it, like I actually really like going into my my YouTube like numbers and stuff, and like my demographic is like people who are like 35 to 55 and like so and they're all dudes for some reason, except MK, and like so I think that's definitely like, and I'm only a drop in the bucket, right? But like, I think that is probably the large majority of people. Like, it's like a very nostalgia-driven game, and most people that I interact with, I come to find out are either older than me or right around the same age as me, and so like, I think that's probably true, and I think people our age are kind of tired of the BS out there and tired of the skibbity sigma nonsense, right? And so like we are a little more friendly and willing to help each other. So
I think also it's one of the reasons is because it's not a particularly competitive game. You know, I mean, even the ranked stuff's not that majorly competitive. You know, I played a couple of other games online, like FPS games, which are really competitive, and the communities on them can be really toxic and abusive. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, like the one that I compare it the most to, I used to play, not like super competitively, but I used to play Dead by Daylight, and like the people there are just like super aggressive and nasty, you know, or you find one random dude who's like really cool, but like comparatively, like, you know, I've only bumped into a couple people in FFBE that I didn't want to interact with.
Yeah, I played Counter-Strike for years, and that was like pretty bad sometimes.
Yeah.
I also play Dead by Daylight to this day. It's still very casually, not like every day, but yeah, that game attracts like every kind of person you can imagine. But yeah,
People with some issues is who it attracts.
Pretty much everyone I've got to know in the FFBE community that I've got on with, I love you very much.
Yeah, well, and that's one thing has blown my mind about it, is that I've you know, doing what I do and being involved in the communities that I've been involved in, like I've been able to interact with people like across the globe, right? And so like I can rattle off multiple countries and multiple time zones and multiple people that I've had like one-on-one conversations or voice calls with even, and one person even invited me into their home on Christmas, and I got to see like their Christmas Day like festivities and stuff with their family, and it was really neat. And like I would have never been able to have that experience without the FFBE community. So it's
well, you're doing it right now as well. But you know, I mean, I've actually, for a couple of people, I've been out shopping and doing my groceries and that, and just taking little pictures here and there of the town I live.
I'm gonna go on the other side of the coin on this, and Sinzar and Flip might get a laugh out of this. I was in the Reddit Discord for like 3 days. Room night. If you're out there, I still don't like you. Okay, good.
I guess nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Even with disagreements I've gotten into with FFBE people, it's like we all come to realization, and like it's just the most welcoming environment I've ever been in. Like other games, and I really think because with Final Fantasy games, like it's strategy, you got to use your brain to do it. Like these first-person shooters like Fortnite, where you just run around and blast people, like you don't have to think that much, so people just aren't welcoming and like whatever, you know. Like, but I like. That's what made this game what it is the community, you know?
Just people are asking, like, room night, like, they're asking, the guy had Ramza for his profile pic, and all I ever saw him say was get good. Like, bro, why don't you just help people rather than like show off and be a? Well, I'm not even gonna say it, but come on, you got to be better than that.
There's a time and a place for it, I think, in the FFB community, like to where like like if you're actually saying that someone just needs to get good, like there is no getting good. Like you learn a mechanic, or you have a unit, or you don't. Like that's what this really boils down to. And that's the thing that's so frustrating, is that like there's not like other than just like trying to learn it for yourself and being able to develop a strategy on your own because you've understood the gameplay, like there isn't really getting good.
Yeah, I think he was just like, trust me, I have my fair share of trolling.
Yeah.
I think we all, except Sinzar, I don't think well, no, I've seen Sinzar troll a little bit, but I think he was just 100% on the troll roll, and it's like, bro, get over yourself. And so I had to leave the Reddit Discord because he annoyed me that much. I'm trying not to cuss here, but yeah. Oh, you would never, Sinzar, ever. We know.
Never, not a single time. Nor would he rant. He just
what do you
speaks
mean?
the truth.
Sinzar loves a troll. His favourite one's when you ask him how he is and he just replies yes.
I still don't know how we're going to beat content without 6 copies of Hateful Agent. Okay, I said it.
Well, you know what? You can ask Sinzar for one of his Deuces TMRs. He's got about 50 lying around.
Oh, that's a good question. So, closing, unless there's anybody else has any other thoughts that they want to share before I throw out a dumb question.
I don't know. I guess maybe I'll just do some. Or do you have another slide for shoutouts, or is this that slide?
This is that shot. Yes, do your shoutouts.
All right. I just want to say, like, there used to be a very big creative community before things got a little bit, same old same with the game. So I just want to shout out to some of the other artists that used to be in the community. Please do. Lady Hero. Yeah. Lady Hero, Aries, Rio, NL, Similera, Serious Lore, Heldrazil, Boneless. There's like a ton of artists on the JP side and like so many more. Like, it always inspired me and kept me going to have all of those people in the community. And that is something that I really miss right now. But I look back very fondly on that community.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And anybody else? Any shout outs you want to make?
Just shout outs. I know they don't play anymore, but just Gonzi, he really helped me out. Howl also really helped me out. And yo, this your boy Rooks. That's it. I'm good.
Good deal.
I think we'll have to give one to seeing as he supported the game for so long, and to the extent he supported the game. We need to give a shout out to Robot.
How could we not?
Oh, Robot, yeah. Or even just like, people like Nasta and the mods who keep the main Discord sane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people that put up with Sinzar for so long. And myself.
That Reddit is a community that I didn't really dig into a whole lot. I created my Reddit account to be able to upvote something that Sinzar posted, just to like try and help boost like visibility on it. And then like I just kind of dabbled a little bit, and then people started like pinging me in the Discord, and that's when I started hanging out there. But like, it's a huge spanning space that is full of a lot of, you can tell, like fun relationships and connections that people have there, and so it's pretty neat to see it in the Discord format. Yeah.
The Brave Exvius Reddit community is very hit or miss. It's got like a lot of the bad people in the community are on the Reddit, but it's also got a lot of helpful people as well. So it really does have both sides of the coin on Reddit.
FFBE equip was a godsend, absolutely, and Learguard, 100%, like super really cool resource.
100%.
Yeah. So here's my dumb question: what unit have you pulled the most of that you absolutely just like throw up every time you see it?
My God, beforehand.
For 7 stars, it was Myra by far. I used to keep track of every single unit I pulled, and during the 7-star era, we didn't have breakdown for bonus shards, so I just had all the copies. I think my grand total was like 19 copies of Myra when we left the 7-star era, and then I stopped keeping track of rainbows. But 19 copies of Myra while we were still in. I think my second highest was like 8 or something of a unit.
That's wild.
I'm telling Tidy she said that.
Yeah, I didn't keep track of 7 stars, but I can tell you this: I have 3-star Robertas. I have 3-star Neovision Farians, and Gabranth. I just quit making them. It's ridiculous.
Vlad.
Yep.
Before Neovisions were a thing, I distinctly remembered me getting too many Shadow Lords.
And I just
5-star. Like I said, before Neovisions were a thing. Because Shadow Lord, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he one of the worst units in the entire game?
Yeah, I think
it was pretty bad.
One Dark Vision. I think he was actually helpful, and that was it.
Well, again, units that have that neat support utility, right? So he had that mitigation buff that you could have applied that like nobody else had access to. Like, so I remember there was a time when Flip was using him to try and help people survive a threshold turn or something like that in a Clash of Wills, on a budget. And yeah, that kind of stuff made units interesting, but otherwise, yeah, terrible damage.
Neovision Faris is the other one. She'll drop or whatever all the time, and it's like you are so unnecessary with extra.
I don't mind at all.
See, she's actually my favorite CG limit burst.
Yeah, she's a. What is it? Is it Envy plus Awakening? What is she considered in JP?
Oh, she's just a Neovision.
Faris, yeah, she's just Neo. She's not plus.
No.
Yeah, whatever it is, you can dump all of her duplicates into like more stats. So I'm still happy to see her at least in JP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if we got that, I remember saving all these Sephiroths and being upset that I like merged, for a second and third card, and then it was like, oh yeah, you're going to use these to boost stats later. I was like, great, and then we don't get that, so it's fine.
Well, yeah, not in global.
Nope.
Yeah.
I think my most trolled show up unit is Fina and Dark Fina and Soul.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah.
Me and Sketch joke about it because like it always happens, and he's always like, "I bet the next one's gonna be Dark Fina and Soul," and then it is, and it's just like, "You're banned from my streams, dude."
Old Axe Star.
I'm gonna just say EX3, EX3 star levels, not 3 stars.
Yeah.
I just caught that.
Yeah, gotcha.
But y'all know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean.
We're with you. We're with you.
Yeah.
What about units you couldn't pull to save your life?
Oh, that's a good question.
Wilhelm, Orlando. Those are the 2 big ones.
I couldn't get original Orlando.
Mine's has got to be Hyo and Panther.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when she came out, and like that was supposed to be the replacement for Orlando, and it didn't work. And I was like, I can't get Orlando. But then Frevia came out, and I got her, and everything returned to normal.
I was going to say either Tyvis at the Neovisions era or Kuja in the 7-star era were my 2 most memorable bad pull sessions.
Mm-hmm.
What about your 300,000?
Well, those polls were fun. Those weren't the most expensive, but the polls were actually pretty good. For 300k, I guess they're expected to be good.
Yeah.
But that was just me, dumping resources because I knew EOS was coming. But actually pulling for and not getting the unit was definitely Kuja or Typhus.
Yeah. That was a
Yeah,
weird
so-
time. There was a time where I had more Tyvus STMRs than Sinzar did, and I thought it was funny.
Yeah, so I EXC'd my Hio into the Panther, okay, with the shards from the new the DOS farm.
Yeah.
And then I got the next red ticket pool. What comes out? Hio in the cat. I'm like, oh my god.
Never fails. Never fails.
That's how it always is. I've spent like $100 to get
After trying to
EX3,
pull them for about 4 months.
and I have 1 million of her now. Like
Yep.
she's dropped all the time.
All right. Well, I think if we belabor the point anymore, we're just gonna be sitting here all night. So I want to thank everybody who, is one of our guests, and everybody who's taken time to watch this and participate in chat. This is the Beige Carpet has been probably my favorite thing to do with the community and to get people together talking about the game and just kind of like, BSing and just having a good time. And so like this has been a blast for me and a big boost in a lot of ways. And I just want to thank everybody again for being a part of it. And I think with that we'll kind of wrap it up. But I hope everybody has
Can I just quickly point out it's 5:10 in the morning here. That's commitment for you.
Well, it really is. I appreciate that. You definitely win the award for staying up the latest. Although I think Sart was on one once, but although I think for him it was in the afternoon. So, yeah, exciting times.
It's breakfast time for you now. Go get some. What do Scottish eat? Haggis and eggs or something.
Scottish egg, maybe.
Maybe.
No, I'm gonna go for a sleep. I usually wake up about 8-9 a.m. Log into FFBE and then I'll go back to sleep again.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you once again, everybody. We'll see you in whatever comes next.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kurt.
This is much fun.
Later.
I'd like to say one more thing. I'm sorry to cut this off now, but I'd like to say one more thing before we officially end things. For those of you that don't know, I love cosplaying. Okay, it's a very expensive hobby, and I'm fortunately able to do it every now and then. And so this game may die on October 30th, but one thing that will never die is my passion for cosplaying just characters I love, and there's definitely a few FFBE characters that I want to cosplay. Specifically, MK, you're gonna love hearing this. My dream cosplay is Dark Rain, and I eventually will pull off a Dark Rain cosplay. So my passion for cosplaying Dark Rain will never die. I will for sure do that. But other than Dark Rain, I love to cosplay Knights of Grandshells, Rain, Lastwell, not Fina though, because cosplaying characters with the opposite gender is not my thing. So I'm not gonna do that. Please don't ask for a Fina cosplay, but any other characters that I like, I will for sure look into cosplaying, and so keep an eye out for that.
Thank you for that. All right. Now I think we're done. Thank you again, everybody, and have a great night and a safe drive home. Or you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, kind of thing. We'll see you around.
Thanks everybody for hanging out. Until next time.
Sweet to later.
Show pics of the Dark Rain cosplay. Yeah, I will. Tech. So thank you.
All right, guys.